Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer and today I'm gamesplaining Bonfire. So this is Bonfire. It is set up as a 2-player game. The only differences on the 3 or 4-player game is a 3 or 4-player game will have the extra piece in each of these spaces. A 3-player game will have a third one of these on each of the islands. A 4-player game will have them on the corner islands as well. Other than that, the game plays pretty much the same for all player counts. So, what do we do for this game? I'm glad you asked. The first thing to notice is you have 5 of these tokens. So you've got 2 with question marks. They are wild cards. You can use them for any of the tokens. And then these 3 are matching those 3. On your turn, you have 3 options of what you can do. You will use the second option more often than anything else, simply because that's pretty much where the game is at. So I'll really quickly narrow down what the other options are, and then I'll get into what the main game is, which is the second option. You can release one of these. Either the top one or the bottom one is able to be released. When you release it, you'll place it touching the one that is on the board already. It can go in any direction. So he may put that in there. What he's now going to gain is 2 of these green, 1 of these, and 1 of these. The only problem is that in order to play one of these tiles, he can only have a maximum of 1 of these left from previous turns. So if that's what his board looked like, then that is absolutely fine. He adds that tile in and gains all this stuff to use for further turns. On a future turn, if he was able to place that there, he would get 3 of these green because there's 3 in a row. So you're really trying to match stuff together. If he went that way, he would still get the 3 green. He would also get the 1 more gold piece for covering that up. If he covers that up, he'll get 1 more of these as well. The other thing you can do if you have 1 of these tokens, we'll talk about how you gain them in a moment, but if you have 1 of these tokens, if you've achieved what is on the token, which this player has not yet achieved, but he hasn't done anything yet, but if you've achieved what's on there, you can release your novice to the board, to the high council board, and you're placing him in 1 of these spots, and they are giving you some bonus stuff. So if you place it there, you'll get 2 more of these gold tokens and 1 more of those question marks. The gold, by the way, acts as a wild of any of the other tokens. If you were to place it there, you would gain an extra 1 of these. It doesn't really matter, it's up to you which one you would take. Maybe I'll take that one. This one allows you to move a guardian forward or back to any empty space. He will gain the usual rewards. I'll talk about those rewards in a moment. If you were to place it there, you would get to turn this to a space and gain 2 rewards. I'll go through that in a moment. Basically, each of these elements are the same as the game turn. It just gets you to do that an extra time. You always have the ability to take an extra point if you don't wish to do that element. So this one allows you to take 1 of these cards. This one allows you to take a guardian in from the board, any of the 4 different colors. This one allows you to move your boat to any island that you wish. You can pay to use that island when you get there. Once again, I'll talk about that when I get through to that one. And this one allows you to place another tile and gain any action rewards as usual. Okay, that's the basic 2 outside actions. Let's run through what the body of the game is about. So there are 6 different tiles which give you different actions when you play them. If you play one of these green tiles, you are choosing one of those elements to set around your bonfire. That's pretty straightforward. I will go into why you would choose each thing in a moment. If you use one of these boats, that allows you to move your boat. The very first time you move your boat, you can place it absolutely anywhere that you like as your movement. So for example, you might place it there. Once you have moved your boat, you immediately get to use that action. So if he had an angel tile, he would be able to take that guy, it's not called an angel tile, but that's what I just call it. So please forgive if I get the names of things wrong. That would enable him to take one of these. If he went to one of these spots and he had one of these markers, which is actually the next action, he could take one of the two tiles that are sitting on there. So he might, for example, spend that to take this one. This gets placed at any of the 5 spots that he wishes, but he's going to place that there. The reason he'll place that there is this is a blue one, and that has a blue crystal thing pointing towards it. So that's going to get extra points at the end of the game because they're matching. The cost of doing that is one of the leaf markers plus one of either the pink or the green. So because he doesn't have any green, he'll spend the pink, and you take the pink one and actually place that on there upside down so you know that it's come from the green player. If that player wished to take that action again and take this piece, he would have to spend 2 of these resource tiles to be able to take that one. Otherwise, anyone else can take that one as their single. Now, what this is going to do is as soon as this player has that particular guy, which is this one, so let's just say, for example, he actually took that as an early movement. That then gets flipped over and it's going to give him 2 points at the end of the game. The yellow ones are the hardest thing to get, so they're worth way more points. The pink or red ones are kind of in the middle of that space. There's so many of them that it's not worth going into what each thing does. There is a little area on the back of the rulebook that shows what each thing does. Let's keep moving forward. So I've actually run through both of those actions already. With the shipping action, just be aware, he's only spent 1, which means he can move from one island to the very next island using these markings. If he spent 2 of them, he could go along 2 of those tracks. If he spent 3, he could move absolutely anywhere on the board that he wished. The only other thing to remember over there is you can only have 1 of each color for the extra guys. With the angels, the other thing that you can do with these tokens, other than just taking the angels off the board to come down here, is if he spends 1, he can move 1 of those angels forward and he gets the resource that that angel has just covered. If on a future turn he spends 1 of these, he can move this angel forward and this angel forward. He will get both of those resources for crossing over. If he happened to spend 2 of them, he could move this guy forward 1, then move this guy down here for the second one. But he could only do that movement if this spot was filled in with a portal, which are these, and I'll get up to how to get them in a moment. But just bear that in mind, that that's another path that he could use. So if he did 2, he could do 1 to there, 1 to there, assuming the portal was in. And this guy could go 1 here, getting that resource, 1 there. So the second movement, getting that resource. You need to play 2 of those tiles to make that happen. The next tile to talk about is this one, which is talking about this piece. On the very first time one of these is played, it's pointed to anywhere, but once it has a location, playing 1 of these will always turn it 1 spot in a clockwise direction. If you play 2 of them, it'll move it 2 spots. If you play 3 of them, you can face it to anywhere you like. What you're doing at that point is choosing what you wish to take. So there are 3 options available. One option is one of these, so he might take that. Notice you need to start at the furthest point around the circle. So you're trying to get these kind of all filled in as much as you can, because this one's not available to move a guy down to until you've actually filled in all of the portals. So that's one of the actions. Another action might be to take that token. And the third action is take 2 points. So doing 2 actions, he can do that, or he could take that portal and 2 points. It's up to you. The next person who does that will turn it to there, and we'll have then the option of one of these 3, the green resource and or a boat token. And the other action is this one with the books or with the cards. And what that's talking about is these cards and these cards just over here. If you spend one of these, you must spend 2 resource, and the resource is depicted in the middle of the card. So he might spend that, noticing gold is a wild resource. That would be fine, and that would enable him to get either this card, or this card, or that card. The other option that you have would be to spend 2 of those tiles and 1 resource to get 1 card. Those cards, when you choose to take them, let's say he takes that one, live underneath your board, and that gives you an ongoing benefit. So if you've taken one of the cards from here, it's an ongoing benefit for the rest of the game. In this case, whenever this particular guardian, which is that one, they're called guardians by the way, finishes his movement, he not only gets the resource, but he gets twice that resource. So he'd get 2 gold by stopping there. When he stops there, he would get 2 of the shells instead of just 1. And that, in essence, is the game. As soon as this is taken, by the way, you would replace it with another one. As soon as you have achieved any of these elements, so if you have 5 of these guardians, it's probably easy. So you've taken all 4 of the colored guys, you get to place this anywhere you like. Now, with these guys, you can only place 1 of each color onto each area. So if green had taken that one and wanted to do it again, he could put another guy across there. Now that means that when someone has 6 cards, they can't use that one to go there. If it was green, he can't put anything there, but he could use one of the other elements. These points will be awarded at the end of the game. So the game will finish when there are, in a 2-player game or 1-player game, when there are 7 of these novices around the bonfire. If you're in a 3-player game, you're looking for 10 of them around the bonfire. If you're on a 4-player game, you're looking for 13 around the bonfire. At that point, the starting player, which let's say that was blue, would take this pile. And it shows there are 5 turns left. He has a turn, then he passes this to the next player, and around. At any point, someone can decide they are done, they don't have any extra actions to do. At which point, they would keep the turn marker. So this one, if green decided he's actually done for the game, he could hang on to this, and that would give him an extra 4 points at the end of the game. Once the number 1 turn marker has gone around the table or been hung on to, that is the end of the game, and we go to final scoring. For scoring, you are gaining these points. First up, for every fire that's been flipped over, you are gaining points for every guardian that is next to a fire, and the points that guardian is getting is just here. So this one would be getting 3. By the way, if you get all the way around to this spot, that one's worth 8 points. So the further around they are, the better off you are. You get 2 points for each of these portals if they're adjacent to a bonfire. So that was worth no points at the moment. If he'd managed to fill all the way around to here, but he'd only got a bonfire there, that's worth 2 points. 2 points for each path tile that shows a crystal of the same color as the bonfire, so that's blue and blue, that's worth another 2 points. 4 points for each of these tasks that have been fulfilled. 3 points for each fate tile, these are the fate tiles that are left in your personal supply, so there's 3 points there. Then 1 point for any 2 resources or action tiles, should I say. 2 points for every resource and action tile. 1 point for every pair of resources and action tiles. If that's what we looked like, we'd be looking at 4 more points, 1, 2, 3, 4. And whoever has the highest score wins. Look, I think that's all that you need to know for Bonfire to work. Please go ahead and watch my gameplay to get a feel for how the game actually plays. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you would like to be gamesplained, please shoot me an email to thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter @thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games that I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.